Hey, Shalom, Yashala. Real quick video giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Kadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, double honors to the apostle, elder bishops, the great millstone. Most salutations to the brothers teaching word for the hopeful elect, soon to be elect, most high will, to a hopeful extended elect, Shalom, blessings. Man, women, and children, as we move toward the end of the world, move toward the steps of the New World Order, which, will lead into Third World War and all the prophecies, the rest of the prophecies about to play out. This is basically, I just saw this, and usually we go in on these women. There's particular cases, I see and I resurface. I guess this recently happened where a woman intended to drown her children, 3 children, by tying them to a rope and jumping in the pool. And they said her words was, "I can't take it anymore," And this kind of hit me different, man. And you can't judge a book by its cover. I don't know if she's have some mental wrong with her. I mean, really, you don't have to have anything mental wrong with you for a mental breakdown. This life is overwhelming. We're in our curses. We're in slavery, and a lot of women are stuck with their kids. I mean, it is a true factor, like it says in the scriptures. A man shall leave his children. Some of these women are widows. It says comfort a widow. But she seems pretty sincere, just her whole aura. And she seems young, let me get another picture of her. She doesn't seem like a ratchet type of woman. Like, she might have been abused. I don't know. But she doesn't take me for a woman that talks shit to a man all in his face. But, like I said, I could be wrong. But they didn't give her a bond. So I don't know what time they're trying to give her, what amount of, if it's months, years. I don't know if they're trying to just scare her or whatever. I don't know. And with this saying too, there's really no true correction for Israel out there in the world. I mean, the laws of America, it is not parallel. It doesn't echo the laws of the Bible. It's not, there's no true rehabilitation for Israel. You could run into police and they call themselves, another code word is correctional officers. But, basically they just throw you in jail and, get money from you and act like that's supposed to help you learn a lesson, and some people, or a lot of people, end up worse when going in, when they come out. And, with the rebuke policy in the Bible is, it's a true seat of judgment. Like, we told you that scripture about, we read it all the time, Job 9:24. Earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judge thereof. If not, where and who is he? And basically, he put himself as a judge, and really they're not the true judges. It says the saints shall judge the world in the scriptures. These are not the true judges of the earth. You might have a racist judge that says, he hate niggas, his code word with the ER, um, and just give you a gang amount of time. Like I always bring up that old incident where that little boy was wrestling with his sister and he accidentally killed her. And there's a law for that. Um, but he was only 12. His sister was probably like 6. He was a little bigger than his sister, maybe you know, maybe by 10 pounds. It's probably a lot, according to kids. But he was, they said he was influenced by a wrestling move he watched on TV. And I'm pretty sure he didn't mean to, you know. There's I think there's a law against that too when you're hot and you're angry in the head and you be like, man, you put too much force out there to where you accidentally like, damn, I went too far. They call it snapping. When it comes to police, they say excessive force. They do have a what is it called? Crime of passion. For example, if you're a man in the military or you're a hardworking man and you've been married to your wife for 10 years or 5, just you trusted her, you loved her, and then you come home, you find another man in your bed and you shoot the hell out of both of them. That's called a crime of passion. It's especially if it's with like you overdid it pretty much because that's how angry you were. You were, opposed to just shooting him in the head one time. It's like, nah, he wasn't. That was premeditated. He planned that, something like that. But you going all out, shooting him multiple times, they gonna be like, this man was mad because somebody slept with his wife. So they call it a crime of passion. So they do try to mimic the Bible sometimes in their own way with you know so-called moral codes, but they're not. They don't really do it, you know, by the book, meaning the Bible, 100%. But and then they got so many people going to jail. Like we've said, starting with the apostles on down, we've said that you know all these prisoners, they're gonna just be like, you know what, the jails are overpacked. Let's just let them out. Well, how are we gonna do that? Well, we're not gonna go the old way because we're moving. We got hella technology now. We're moving into a new world, a new world age of a new world. So we're gonna see hip them, we're gonna chip them, and they'll, they'll be able to get out of prison, and we'll just monitor them that way, because we can't just all the crimes, increasing of crimes, we can't just overpack them in the jail. We gotta find a place for them. They said that too. In the near future, they were gonna let the criminals out, but how would you do that and them being criminals? How's that justifying? Well, yeah, see him. Also, crime, it comes from the word crimson, which means red, which means it's significant with blood. So, if you cross the street and they give you a ticket for jaywalking, and that's not really a crime. That's an offense, I would say, but it's not really a crime. But of course, that same man and that same woman will be put in jail with criminals, some that have, murdered their family, So you got the man or woman that um, only got a ticket for whatever speeding that he's put in the tank with somebody that murdered their whole family. So there's levels of sin, man. There's sin into death, you know. Uh, Stealing is really not sin to death because you're able to return the property. Adultery, things like that, is a sin into death. So, you know, there's the balance of law, and they don't really exercise that. The system doesn't exercise the balance of law. They don't exercise what's in the Bible. So, you know, um, and it's a scripture that says that's the curses. Going back to even Genesis, it said Genesis 3:16, and to the woman he said, Eve, she's the mother of us all, mother of all living. So, you know, the black so-called black woman is a representation of she's the head of all women on the earth. You know, I mean, all these nations as well as the tribes of Israel. So she's gonna get it the worst. It says, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. And, you know, that conception too is the mind. So, you know, she'll bring forth, like, even before the baby is brought forth out of a womb, she'll be like worried. You know, Tupac had a song called Brenda's Got a Baby. She threw a baby in the trash can. You know, they get worried being pregnant, you know, or she'll lay with a man that she don't want her family to know about it. She'll think about an abortion, you know, or she'll run away, you know, keep the baby and whatever, you know. But she's the sorrow is there, man. And thou bring forth children, and thy desire shall be toward thy husband, to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So the concept of rule over thee wasn't a thing with Eve. Now it is. Now she's like, oh, this dude is he trying to tell me what to do. So it's a what do you call it? It's kind of like a plague almost in your mind, like, you know, men are always trying to get over. That's in their minds. It wasn't that. It was just like basically a man and a woman get together, male and female get together. But now, you know, they have to have in their mind like, man, this dude is ruling over me. I can't say anything. I can't do anything. Like we tell them from the scriptures, you know, a woman shall not teach. If she learn anything, learn from her husband at home. Now that's a burden to them. You know, cleaning, doing dishes, doing womanly duties, breastfeeding, that's a burden to them. You know. So I don't know what she was going through. She was stressed. You know, she got 3 children. They said they were like 2 years old, 3 or 5 years old, something like that. They were in that age range. So they're basically, she just had them. And, you know, a mother, you don't know what a mother says. Your mother probably said, I told you not to go out there and just be, I don't know. She might have just one dude that she had the children by. The children might be by one dude. Her mother probably rejected her, you know, and all that. So it's not like feeling sorry for her pretty much. It just hits different, you know. Because we do care about our people, man. You know, if it's a certain situation and where our people, you know, are a humble situation where our people doing the best and they're not evil, they're not out there ratchet, causing trouble and all that, and they trying and they got a job and they got bills and it becomes overwhelming and they snap, you be like, well, I understand that, man. You're not so much hard on them as the ratchet and of course the wicked. There are some women out there that really do try, that really do, they really caught in confusion and not knowing what to do. Like, what, they don't know. and they don't know about the curses. You know, they're finding out. A lot of them are finding out. You know, and you'll have a woman out there, a black woman, and she'll probably sometimes roll her eyes and roll her neck. She get that from her mother, but she might be a good-hearted person. Just like that woman in the scriptures with Yahweh Shai, they said she committed adultery, and he forgave her. He said, sin no more. So they wanted her stoned. They wanted her. So you got to, even with Hannah, going back to what I think it's Susanna, when her own brothers tried to sleep with her, she said this should not be done in Israel. This is basically, she was saying that's wicked. You're going off. Tamar said the same thing. So you got women that'll cry out and say this is not right, man. But anyway, that's why we always mention the curses, because a man can even easily be overwhelmed by these curses, man. We, from the enemy, looking over you and looking down at you, firing you at any time for no reason. They give you a reason, but they, it's bullshit. It's, racism, silent racism that you can't really just point out and say, yeah, this person's racist. And then even with so, they still wouldn't do anything about it. They if you're in a racist neighborhood and you get hit with a rock, they'll call the police and they'll try to find the person. If they can, they'll be like, well, just stay away from this neighborhood. We'll just advise you to stay away. They're not gonna go seize the neighborhood and arrest everyone that's racist. We're living in a racist country. So, we are, it does affect us. Our people are crying out. A lot of some of them mean well. They're not. Some of them rough around the edges. We come from those places, man. We come from rough threads, man. A lot of brothers grew up in the hood, and a lot of blacks grew up from the hood and low places. And they don't. Some ghettos are worse than others, but we all have tasted that fruit of oppression, man. Taste that fruit of what do you call it? Of pain and suffering. And so that's why the gospel is called the good news. But our people don't attend to the good news. We tell them, like, look, lift your head up, hold your head up. You're a prince of power. You're gods, man. And they act like, they'll say, oh man, y'all, man, who gives a damn, man? Or so what? How is that gonna help me, man? Like, it starts in the mind for you rebellious ass people. It starts in your mind. If Jake had the mind and heart after the Most High, and these ghetto neighborhoods and the slums and the projects, it wouldn't be no violence. Not against each other. But they always crying about what happens in the hood, how hard it is and all that. I don't know where she's from. She could be from a ghetto neighborhood, and having to take the bus, and no black person is able to really help another. It's all, because if you help the other, then you're gonna be out of money or out of resources for yourself. So they'd be like, man, I got a couple of dollars, but I can't get you out of your condition. I can't get you out of the ghetto. So, well, you know how Jake do it. They say, well, let me get an opportunity to move out the ghetto. Let me go to, let me move up north. Let me move up here. And it's even harder, So, it ain't an easy roll in this damn America, especially when you're waking up to the truth, to know how evil these devils are. They know how the system works. They know how the court system works. The polices are, how the neighborhood watch system is. You know, you'll find out that we're still in captivity. We're still in slavery, basically. You know, and we're enslaved under the devils. You know, these are straight up devils that rule the world, and that's over us right now. So can we arrest these devils? Nah, they rule the world, man. For right now, till the Most High take their asses down. Because, and we when we say that, we point out their wicked asses, that they're not true judges and they're not true righteous people. You know, just because of you have a badge and you arrest somebody for drinking and shit, that doesn't mean you care about, you know, their their whole situation of being in a low place. You just like, well, get yourself together, quit drinking, and pay these fines. Get arrested, let you out of jail. They don't check up with you. Hey, is everything going all right? I know last time you went to jail, you were pretty drunk. But you doing all right now? You doing better? Some cops do, like when they, you know, they stop somebody and they take them to jail, and if they run into them again, they be like, hey, I arrested you last time for, you know, hey, man, you got to get your life straight, man. But how many is out there, man, like that? It's pretty much all, you know, this is a world based on all for self. You know, get it while you can, greed, you know. Jake talking about crabs in a bucket, but, you know, basically who built the bucket to put the crabs in there? You know? So we're really living under a wicked ass system. And there's no one can do about it except the Most High. No one can take these devils down except the Most High. That's why it says that in the scriptures, man. You know, they're gonna be taken down with a mighty hand. We can't destroy them, man. You know. So that's why another reason why we're gonna praise the Most High. We praise Him now. We don't wait until He does it. We believe that He will do it. He promised that He will. So we serve Him like that now. Like, yeah, the water Yahweh for, you know, having it in your word that these devils are gonna go down, that they won't complete their enterprise, that they're gonna be accounted for their wickedness. Said the wicked will not go unpunished. So, you know, anyway, sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. When we measure the act and behavior of our people, sometimes is in their favor. Like, damn, she doesn't deserve that. Let her out, let her go. But, you know, 2/3 of our people, nah, they all gonna deserve the missiles. That's why you got something called the multitude that clings to the righteousness, clings to the elect. You know, because they want to really do right. They have a sincerity of heart, man. So anyway, don't want to drag it out. To the next video. Hope it is edifying. Shalom.